And Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Wednesday, September 15th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Roll call. Manager Silka.
Commissioner Stump.
Here.
Commissioner Atwood.
Here.
Commissioner Blasco. Commissioner Zona.
Here.
Commissioner Bevan.
Here.
Commissioner Goss.
Here.
Commissioner Haggis.
Here, can everyone please stand and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and an opening prayer by Pastor Nick Poole?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you bow your heads? Lord, we thank you for this wonderful township. We thank you for the leadership you have blessed us with. We pray, Lord, that this meeting would be blessed by you, give wisdom, and God grant mercy. And Lord, that you would continue to bless us and keep us and let your face shine upon us and grant us peace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If any residents would like to speak tonight, if you could please sign the book at the podium. Thank you. We have one resident that wanted to speak tonight. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you want to come up, if you want to just go ahead and speak, just state your name and address, and if you want to come after she's done. You can speak now. Just state your, yeah, if you wanted to speak, just state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Nikki Hyman. I'm from North Huntington. I just had an incident.
And just your address, please.
1081 Altman Street, Westmoreland City, Pennsylvania. This is my first time at a meeting, so if I don't know the protocol, please excuse me.
That's okay, thanks.
Okay. My mother's been in a nursing home for almost a year now. I'm her power of attorney, so I do get all her mail and whatnot. I received a per capita tax for her while she's in the nursing home. Now, I understand this is for every citizen, and she is in a nursing home in North Huntington. But she's not really getting any of the amenities that we get living in our homes. She's in a nursing home. I called Berkheimer to see if she could be exempted from this. I was sent a form, and I believe, first of all, it took me a whole day to find out who generated this form, okay? It came to the conclusion from Berkheimer that this was from the North Huntington Commissioners and the school board that generated this. If you would like to look at it, to me, it's totally outdated. In order to be exempted from this tax, you have to have total income of all your resources, including Social Security, pensions, disability, sick pay, and so on, and it has to be less than $5,000. Now, I don't know anybody in North Huntington, Social Security, that is under $5,000. To me, this is outdated. I don't know when this was, generated or proposed here, but if you would like to see, and from my understanding, it's just these townships that are included in this tax. This is the form. I don't know if you're familiar with this. I'd just like to know how this came about.
Yep, thanks.
Are you familiar with this?
I mean, I'm not directly familiar with the way citizens input work. If you can state your, issues, and then we'll respond to your
Okay.
issues. It's
All
not
right,
a
that's fine.
give and take, yeah.
I just wanted to present that and have some clarification, so,
Yeah.
I can make sense of this. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, if you want to come up and state your name and address for the record, sir.
Good evening. My name is Robin Simmons. I'm a North Huntington Township resident on Marvin Drive in North Huntington. I did prepare a speech for this evening, and it's in regards to some serious concerns I and other residents have with the Norwin School District, which of course does fall within North Huntington Township. Good evening, Commissioners of North Huntington Township. I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak open and freely here tonight without censorship. That might seem like an odd thing to say, but in today's America, sadly, being able to speak freely without fear of reprisal or even speak freely at all has become the exception instead of the norm. Even in our own backyard, at our own school district of Norwin, Parents and teachers are silenced and intimidated to speak out against the unlawful mask mandates levied down by this state. I'm not sure if the commissioners are aware, but at Monday night's Norwood School Board meeting held in the auditorium, it was rudely and abruptly canceled by the administration, school board, and arbitrator, insisting that everyone must wear a face covering in accordance with the unlawful mandate that was levied down from Harrisburg. More than 90% of the audience was masked. But because a handful of people with bona fide medical conditions who could not wear a face covering, the administration, school board, and arbitrator used that as a lame excuse to end the meeting before it even started, and thereby silenced yet again the parents and teachers of Norwood. This is another glaring example of the inadequate leadership that has been demonstrated by Norwood Superintendent Jeff Taylor and the Norwood School Board President Brian Carlton. We don't need toxic leadership like this at Norwood. We need collaborative leaders like Hempfield Superintendent Dr. Tammy Willicki. We need leaders on the school board who—
Excuse me, Mr. President, a point of order. Do you have anything regarding North Huntington Township business?
Oh, I do, and I'll tie it in to
Okay.
how this all relates.
Yes, because the township has nothing to do with the school board, and we
And
just
I
want to make
totally
sure that we
understand
stay
that.
on topic tonight.
Yes, sir, and you'll see how it ties in.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. We need leaders on the school board who lead by example from the front, like Shauna Illigan, Alex Deschalt, and Christine Bavaro, all of whom, I'm not sure if you're aware, are running for Norwood School Board in November. We hope the Board of Commissioners considers openly supporting these transformational leaders. I also would like to point out a few other things. Our neighboring school districts, our peers, Hempfield and Penn Trafford, both held in-person school board meetings Monday night, regardless if parents and teachers wore face coverings. Additionally, when Norwood parents and teachers do actually get to speak before the board and administration, we only get 2 minutes to speak, while Hempfield gets 3 and Penn Trafford gets 5. And I also want to point out, I spent over an hour developing a message that encouraged our administration and our school board to stand up to the bullies, but I never got to give them my message because we were shut down. Parents and teachers in North Huntington Township are sick and tired of being silenced. We're sick and tired of the administration at Norwood and the school board not taking our ideas and concerns seriously into the decision-making process. The parents and teachers of Norwood are sick and tired of our district bowing without a fight to the unlawful orders handed down by Pennsylvania. We, the parents of Norwood, are sick and tired of having little to no transparency and dialogue, all while our school taxes increase every single year. These leaders are failing our children, the parents, the teachers, and the entire community of North Huntington. So what? So how does this apply to this board? Well, I'm going to tell you. The so what to the North Huntington Board of Commissioners it should be of significant importance to this board because good citizens who currently live in North Huntington are going to leave and never look back. They are going to move to surrounding communities to put their children in schools like Penn Trafford, Hempfield, Latrobe, Derry, Mount Pleasant, or Bell Vernon. Schools that have leadership who will fight back against the tyranny levied by the corrupt bureaucrats at the state and federal level, or at least listen and care about the concerns of parents and teachers and try to minimize the effects on our beautiful children. My plea to you this evening, Board of Commissioners of North Huntington Township, is to prevent this potential mass exodus of good citizens from Norwood. Since the Norwood School Board and administration won't listen to us, parents and teachers who reside in North Huntington, we would ask you take our ideas and concerns seriously, and that you convey those to the Norwood School Board and the Norwood administration. Maybe they will listen to the Board of Commissioners. I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you and God bless.
Thanks. All right, responses to input. Jeff, do you have some maybe further information on the first resident that spoke tonight?
Yeah, the per capita tax is part of our 511 taxes that were authorized probably in the mid to late 60s. What we could do is, as we go on for the 2022s, we can take a look at that ordinance and see if we need to make any modifications to it, and just to make sure that we're compliant with Act 511.
All right, and we'll get back to you with any further information, but for this year, it's not going to change because we can't change it for this year. All right. And any other response on that one? And then our last resident that spoke tonight, any response from the board on that one?
Hey, on that gentleman that just spoke, if I can just add on, I agree with what you said. For people that aren't looking around and paying attention, we are under attack in this country right now, I feel also, just like you said. Not only our freedom of speech, but a lot of our freedom of movement and of everything else. And I just encourage anyone in here and yourself, keep going to those school board meetings. You have to hold people, these elected officials, accountable. Come here, hold us accountable. That's what this is about. Our state officials, we got to hold everybody accountable. We need more people like you. You got to get people going out. Keep going to those meetings, even though they shut that meeting down and closed it. Keep going. Keep going and hold them accountable, as we should be held accountable too.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Like I said, if I could just ask you, Mr. Zona, and the rest of the board, to please reach out to the administration, please reach out to the school board, and just convey the community's dissatisfaction. Thank you. Thanks, sir.
I think, too, I'd like to add to this. The fact that Mr. Simmons is here the reason for him being here is he got shut down. He got shot down and shut down by a school district that should have been listening to the residents and the family and the concerns of their children. So he doesn't have a forum at the school to speak. So why? That's why he comes here. This is a forum where he and those like-minded and even people that disagree have the right to come here and voice their opinion. Mr. Simmons, I thank you also, sir, for coming here. I really appreciate it. Like Mr. Zona had said, please continue to go to those meetings. You get shut down, brother, I want you to come here and express that on this podium because this forum is open to all Americans. Thank you, brother.
I would just like to say that I served on the Norwin School Board for 4 years, around year 2000 or so. And the thing is, you need 5 people out of those 9 people to make a difference. And that's what you need to do. You have to get people of like mind elected to that school board so that you can change those things. And you don't want to get me started on the mask mandate at all, because I'm a medical technologist, and I worked in microbiology. And I actually did those COVID tests for COVID-1 and for H1N1 without a mask. And they don't jump off the plates or the swabs, But anyway, what I'm saying is the mask mandates in and of themselves are probably unscientific, not proven, and really, are they making a difference? If masks made a difference, we wouldn't have 600,000 people that have COVID. So I just say, just keep on doing what you're doing, get people elected to that board who are of like mind, and go from there. You can change things. I mean, the governor made a mandate. He has lots of mandates for education. I can't even begin to tell you the mandates from the federal and the state level that we receive probably daily at the school board level. And I'll tell you what, in Pennsylvania, school boards are locally elected and locally controlled. And people that are on the school board have to put their foot down and say, wait a minute, I was elected to represent the people of North Huntington, and we are deciding this. So I say, keep on doing what you're doing. And I have often thought about going up and talking to the superintendent from a microbiology standpoint, because this isn't the first I've heard from a parent of a Norwin School District students in the district. And I agree that the buses, they should probably be masked because they're in close contact with each other, but the kids are not the transmitters of this disease. Don't get me started on the masks, because the people don't even wear them over their nose. What do they think we're culturing when we culture for COVID? We culture noses. If they aren't covered, how in the world does that make any sense at all? But anyway, I'll be quiet. Keep it up.
Anything else from the board tonight? All right, that closes response to citizens' input. Approval of meetings minutes for the special meeting 8/12/21.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. For the regular meeting 8/18/21.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I. Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Payment of bills.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, that's a motion to approve voucher number 12172 through voucher number 12235.
Yes, I amend.
And there's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by saying an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved 6-0. Staff reports, Public Works report, Director Albert. Anything to add tonight?
I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
Any questions on Public Works? All right, thanks. Park and Recreation, Director Miller. Anything to add tonight?
Nothing. Thank you.
Any questions for Director Miller?
Mr. Miller, I'd just like to say thank you and your crew for the Relay for Life out at Indian Lake. I was involved in that a little bit. It went very well. I was out there that day, and speaking with the people running the relay, they want to keep that partnership with the township going, and they'd like to keep using that in the future. They were very happy with the service they received out there. So thank you and your gentlemen that work for you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zona.
Oh, one more thing, Mr. Miller, too. Are we going to schedule a ribbon cutting thing for the Lions Park?
We are scheduling
Okay.
a ribbon cut. We haven't
Just
set a
maybe
date yet.
before the weather turns bad.
Right. We actually have been waiting for the asphalt paving to
Okay.
be done down there, which was just recently completed. So
Okay.
I would expect within the next 30 days, we should have a ribbon cutting down there.
Thank you.
Thanks. Police report, Chief Rizzo.
I have nothing to add.
All right, any questions for the chief tonight?
Yeah, I do, if I may. Chief, would you be willing to look in to see what ordinance we have on vicious dogs? And you know, the responsibility of the owner of said dogs to keep them within the confines of their property and within the residence. Would you be willing to do that for me, please?
Yeah, absolutely. We're working with something now. Lieutenant McCurdy is just dealing with a similar type case. So
Right.
I think we can look at our ordinance and then what's on the laws for the dogs, and then
That'd be great.
absolutely can get back to you on that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yep, no
I don't know, just for the sake of argument, if I may, you know, just a couple days ago, on the 3rd of September 2021, an Asian gentleman was mauled by 2 pit bulls in Harris County, Texas, and suffered critical injuries after falling victim to 2 pit bulls. Now, I am not trying to bring attention to a specific breed, but I will tell you, this gentleman's probably going to have to go through a face transplant. If anybody has ever seen the harsh reality of a face transplant, you just, my God, you can't help but feel for the person that's on the receiving end of that. Always and typically, they were a victim of a negligent owner of a dog, and they have to live with this for the rest of their life. So I really, again, Chief, thank you for helping me look into this. Lieutenant McCurdy, thank you for all that you continue to do. I appreciate your help and assistance as well, and thank you, Board.
Thanks. Emergency Management Report, anything for your report tonight?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Hello again. We're busy. New things coming up. We've been busy. I've got alerts for all the flooding we've had. There's a couple of things I want to mention. One of them is I want to invite all the fire departments to get the June report together. What I'd like to do is put some sandbags together. Put a pallet of sandbags in every fire department on standby, flooding issues and things like that. I don't have the manpower to make sandbags, I need sand, by the way. But we have bags, I need some sand. But that's the major issue we've been facing with all this rain we've had, and we are on alert for that. I want to let you know that. There's some new things that came out, that you see that flow chart I
Thank you. Planning and zoning report, Director Fonzie. Anything on the fire officials report? Any questions on that tonight? All right. Subdivision land development.
Yes, there's 6 items on the agenda set for your approval tonight. The first item is Subdivision 17 of 2021, the Legends Phase 3 Revision 3, requesting board action to approve this subdivision.
Motion to approve.
I'd like to second that.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Okay, the second item is Subdivision 18 of 2021, the Myers Plan, requesting action to approve this boundary line revision.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
The third item is Subdivision 19 of 2021, the Bowback Pushcar Jurisich Plan, requesting action to approve this lot consolidation.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Fourth item is Subdivision 20 of 2021, the Immaculate Conception Lot Consolidation, requesting board action to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Did we make a decision on whether or not they needed to bond that building?
That's not part of this motion, so we decided not to have them
Okay.
bonded.
I just wasn't
Yeah.
sure how that ended up.
That'll be a condition of approval, so until those buildings are raised, we're going to hold on to the plan. They won't be able to record it, and that's scheduled for the first week of October.
Perfect.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Okay, fifth item is Site Plan 6 of 2021, the Warhold Mechanicals LLC, requesting board action to approve this building addition.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I. Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
And lastly, item number 6 is Site Plan 8 of 2021, the Walmart Grocery Pickup Remodel, requesting board action to approve this change.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I. Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thanks. Solicitor's report, Solicitor Alexander.
Thank you. There are no action items on the solicitor's report this month.
All right, thank you, sir. Township Manager report, Manager Silka.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items this evening. First is action to approve the August check register.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
The budget report for August 2021 is provided for your review. The next item is action to award the solid waste and recycling bid for 2022 to 2025 with an option for 2026 for the automated collection option to Waste Management of Pennsylvania, 310 Legger Road, North Huntington.
Before we vote on this, I would like to have Mike give a little bit further of an explanation to the public as to the contract, because I think all of us received a lot of inquiries about that.
The specifications, I assume you mean the specifications. So there'll be a contract because there'll be a new hauler, and part of the contract is specifications. So when we wrote briefly, when we wrote the specifications, we wrote the manual collection system that everybody's used to, but we had known, talking with industry folks and so forth, that there were a lot of issues in cost, and the current climate was so bad that there's a strong preference for the automated system, so we bid that as an option. And the bids came in like we thought, which really steered us to the recommendation. The only one we believe is practical is the automated option that we talked about last week. So the various conditions and so forth are really, it's a fairly standard business. There's certain specifications for carts and so on and so forth, and it'll be an automated collection. With the exception of the senior sticker bag program, that will still be a manual collection. And the yard waste collection is collected 6 weeks out of the year, will be manual too.
I have a couple questions about that, and really just more or less for the public. When you have the yard collection, will someone be able to use a regular trash can for that?
However they're doing it now, yeah. I mean, what they're gonna do is just put out extra vehicles for yard waste collection on those weeks, so that doesn't change.
And I would also like to comment that our contract with county hauling called for an increase this year as well. So you really have to look at the difference between what county hauling would have been and what Waste Management is proposing. Also, if you could talk about the trash can sizes that people can have, whether they're a senior or not. Because some people express concern that they didn't want a large can for maybe the ability to wheel it to the curb or the ability to store it in their garage.
Well, they don't have to store it in their garage. It can be stored outside. But the standard size for solid waste is 96. But when we bid there's a senior discounted rate, automated discounted rate. It's discounted for seniors, not the per bag rate, just a discounted senior rate. That's really based on a 65-gallon. For that reason, the seniors usually have a little less trash. It holds a little bit more. And we have made an assumption you get to 65 gallon. Now, if you get a 96 gallon, you just can't handle it. I don't think it's a big issue to have it switched for a 65. But I would just say that this is not something new. This is something that's been occurring in many, many communities throughout the country. And these are a little better balanced and made than what you might be used to seeing. The specifications are pretty strong. It's commercial grade stuff, and it moves fairly well. It's not going to be as difficult to move as what some people think, but there may be some instances and you can move to a 65 gallon. But the discounted senior rate is based on a 65 gallon, and I think it weighs 20 or 28 pounds, but it's wheeled, the 65 gallon toter or cart.
And can you also talk to the point of rent versus own and why someone might not be able to use their own current garbage can?
There is no rent. That's the price. The price to go automated, especially for first time, includes the price of the carts. It's a package. You get these carts. They're not Home Depot carts. These are commercial grade quality. So there's a sophisticated process for tracking them, for repairing them. If they get broken, replaced, they're a 10-year warranty. It's just not, you can't swap out your Home Depot cart for these. They may not fit their equipment. They may break easily. Who's responsible if it wasn't part of the deal? It's not how this is bid. This is bid as a package and includes the carts. You can't bring your own cart to make this work. So there is no rent to own. The price includes the carts, and you're getting 2 quality carts with 10-year warranties, and you can't use your own. That's not how this is bid. That's not how it works.
Thank you, because I think the public needed to be educated on that.
Well, I think we recognize, and we've talked internally, we certainly recognize the need for a lot of education and maybe a few bumpy a little bumpy road rolling it out, because it is different. But we certainly, we're not to that point yet, because we haven't awarded a contract. But through the fall, we have a lot of work to do on the educational side with regard to what we're recommending if it gets approved and voted tonight.
Thanks, Mike.
I have one question to follow up. I think it might be the only one you missed. Do people have the option to switch out the smaller can if they need to? For, say, they can't maneuver the larger one, or there's an issue with them having the bigger one?
We wrote a specification for that. We didn't want any changes within 60 days till you see how it works, so not right away. But after that 60 days, within 1 year, there's an opportunity to switch out. But what I'm not sure we want to encourage too much of that, because it creates a lot of havoc on the back end with switching thousands and thousands of carts which have to be purchased. So we recommend the 96-gallon is a good size, but there will be an opportunity. The answer is sort of yes, there'll be opportunity to switch it out to a smaller size. Obviously, with 12,700 units, everybody, we got to fit them into a couple boxes here, so, because it's automated. So the 96-gallon is a standard size, 65 gallons for the senior, and then the 65-gallon is the recycling size. But there's some opportunity. After a year, then there'll be a charge to swap it out, because it's basically used then. So we had to write a specification for that to address it. I think what we wrote is fair, but we may get some complaints, and we'll just see.
Mike, I had a lot of people who were concerned about the mobility of these cans, because either their driveways are on a slope, or someone called me and said their driveway is actually gravel. So do these cans, are they able to move across gravel, or are they going to have a problem getting them up and down?
Well, I mean, however, how are they getting their garbage out now? They have to be wheeling it or carrying it. It's even more, this is easier than yeah, there are 10-inch wheels. I think the specification called for 10-inch wheels on that. They're fairly large wheels, and when we looked at the size of the wheels, we felt as though that would be adequate for this. So I don't want to say no one's going to have a problem, but I don't think that's going to be an issue.
You know, Fran, if I can, I went through this as we went in Robinson Township from the bins to recycling to the 65-gallon recycling containers. And that was the early thing. It's too big. I can't maneuver it. I'm too much on the hill. I think we only had like 3 or 4 households that had a problem of putting it. And actually, as we do our education, if this works, we went into the senior centers and showed it's a balanced cart. It's not like you're trying to lug this huge, it looks big, but it's balanced, it tips easy, and if you can drag your garbage out to the curb, you'll be very easily able to maneuver one of these carts. So a lot of, and Robinson Township is a lot like us, it's a lot of slopes, a lot of, no sidewalks. So our education, coming up in the next 3 months will show that a lot of these questions can be alleviated and answered very easily.
Okay, thank you.
Jeff, I'd like to direct a question to you, if I may. What is the additional cost from what people are paying now to now? Did you guys say the bid has not been awarded?
Correct. The bid is not awarded. I think, as we discussed last week, and I don't, Mike may have it with him, we can't use the bid right now, because the bid we have right now is a sub-market bid, and it's a service that we obviously chose to get rid of. Our trend line was in the $20 range, is going up for the past, 6 years, 8 years. This rate at $16.90 is an artificial rate, as our bids have clustered in you're really within $3 to $5 of each other, going through in the past 2 bidding cycles. So, this is an increase. However, if you take a look at what Waste Management's low bid was whenever they bid out at the last contract, we're roughly about a little bit over $3 difference now than we would be paying under that contract. As we said, county hauling is a sub-market bid. It really can't be used for analysis. It was something that was put in to get business, allegedly, and the service couldn't be met at that, and it's not within the market rate.
I'm just concerned about the financial aspect of it for our citizens. I mean, I understand, and I don't understand why everything's jumping up in price. We've got more people on unemployment, more people, not working because of COVID. And then, of course, we're having a price hike. And I understand everything seems to jump up every year. You get a pay raise only to delve out that pay raise. And it just seems like it does this. I'm concerned about folks that are going to have problems financially. I mean, if we've got citizens in this township that are cutting pills in half to survive or foregoing a meal in lieu of taking their pills to stay alive, that's why I argued for a reverse bid process. I want to put all the garbage collectors out there and have them bid this against each other. And whoever wins that bid, that's great. And then the reverse bidding would help drive the cost down a little bit. And again, I understand we're probably going to come in a little bit more financially, but it would be maybe $2 instead of $6 more or $8 more. So I know that you guys are trying to do your due diligence on this, Mike. It's you included, and I appreciate that. But I also have to argue on the side of our constituents and the finances that's going to be, because I don't know. I think things are going to get difficult in this country in the days to come, and I'm concerned.
Eric, I'd just like to talk about that because you have wage inflation right now where in our area, people were making around $10 an hour at a minimum, and that's now about $15. That's wage inflation. On top of that, you have the cost of these vehicles, you have the cost to put gasoline in them, and there's a number of other costs that it all ripples down. Everything is going up in price. And so I think people should be aware that they're going to see these little tiny price hikes every year.
And I get what you're saying, I really do, and I totally agree with you. And I think it's a false piece that just because the cost or the wage increase goes from $10 to $15 an hour, and everybody goes, man, I'm getting $5 more an hour, this is great. Well, you know what, if you do the math and you see the increase in gas, you see the increase of this, you see the increase of that, and the increase of this and that, you're going to be beginning to realize, oh my God, this $5 an hour more, it was just, all it was just, I get a bigger paycheck, but in the end, I'm still handing out the same amount of money. And I'm same where I am today. You know, I'm making $100,000 a year and I still got the same junk stuff that I got. You know, California, case in point, years ago, I was out there in the 90s. The home that I live in Penns Woods in California, which is 1,500 square feet in California, was just under $1 million. Are you kidding me? How do you pay $1 million for a 1,500 square foot house in California is beyond me. I think California fails its citizens, but we're talking from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So, but my point is, I think it's a false piece, and that's why I argue for, for the reverse bid. And I'm actually going to have to vote against this, even though you guys did your homework on it, just for that reason. And that's all I have.
Any other discussion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Roll call vote, Manager Silka.
Commissioner Stump.
Aye.
Commissioner Atwood.
Aye.
Commissioner Blasco. Commissioner Zona.
Yes.
Commissioner Bevan.
Yes.
Commissioner Goss.
No.
Commissioner Higas.
Yes. Motion passes 5-1.
Okay, the next item is action to authorize the advertisement of an ordinance to adopt the revised Huntington Township Police Standard Operating Procedure Manual.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved 6-0.
Action to authorize the advertisement of an ordinance to adopt the updated North Huntington Township Police Civil Service Rules and Regulations.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Next is action to set the 2021 trick or treat for Sunday, October 31st, 2021, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. for North Huntington Township.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
So
All
we're
those,
gonna have trick or treat on the Sabbath for Christians. Wow, okay. Wow. Okay, it's a pagan holiday, boys and girls. Just saying.
any other discussion? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
Roll call vote, Manager Solka.
Commissioner Stump.
Aye.
Commissioner Atwood.
Yes.
Commissioner Zona.
Yes.
Commissioner Bevan.
Yes.
Commissioner Goss.
No.
Commissioner Hagas.
Yes. Motion approved, 5-0.
Okay, 5-1.
Oh, sorry, 5-1, excuse me.
Next is action to obligate funding from the proceeds of the American Rescue Plan Act in the amount of $235,000 for building reconfiguration and $566,347 for revenue replacement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Next is action to award the commodity bid for storm inlet frames and grates to Pleasant Unity Supply of Pleasant Unity, Pennsylvania, for a total of $50,046.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Action to award the commodity bid for various stone to Hanson Aggregates of Connellsville, Pennsylvania, for a total of $160,185.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion.
Jeff, would you please tell us what that stone's gonna be used for?
It's going to be used for various public works projects. What these are commodity bids. We're not buying a truckload of stone right now. This is setting up for the next 12 months of basically setting, a price if we buy up to the maximum of that amount.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Next is action to award the commodity bid for anti-skid material to McClemens Supply and Transit of Portersville, Pennsylvania, for a total of $36,810.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Can we clarify that number? That's not what we have written here. I have 34,800.
$36 on mine.
I have $36,810 on mine. Let me check the commodity bid.
36,810.
We're at number 10, correct? McClyman Supply and Transit?
Yes.
Number 10.
It is 34,800. There was a error on the agenda item. I'm reading off the agenda. That's, the copy that I'm reading off of has a typo. So it is 34,800.
Jason, good catch.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can we amend the motion?
Yes, I'll amend it.
And I'll second the amended.
All right, so that motion's for the revised number 34,810. All those in
No,
favor?
it's 34,800.
34.8, excuse me. 34.8.
I know it's only $10. It's 4 rocks, Rich, I'm sorry.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Action to award the commodity bid for various size drainage pipe to Chemung Supply Corporation of Elmira, New York, for a total of $166,261.
I think we have the same issue on that one, Jeff. I think
Okay, let me just,
168,261 for that one,
I have
if I'm not mistaken.
166.
Back on the other page.
okay.
Is that
Okay,
correct?
let's see.
That's 168,261, correct?
168,281. Yes, I'll,
261.
260.
I have
261.
166,261.
Go back on this. You have to
It
go,
says go back.
you have to
Okay.
go back on that other page.
The other page. You'll see
Where the bids, where all the bids are on the
Oh,
bid
yeah.
page.
Correct, it's 168,261.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'd like to second that, 168.
All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
Okay. Action to award the commodity bid for bituminous surfacing material to Hanson Aggregates of Connellsville, Pennsylvania for $55,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Next is action to award the commodity bid for Type B cold patch to Russell Standard Corporation of Morris, Pennsylvania for a total of $16,700.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed?
And my last.
Motion approved, 6-0.
And my last item is action to award the commodity bid for Class A concrete to JLB Holdings Incorporated of North Huntington Township, Pennsylvania, for a total of $68,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 6-0.
Question.
That's all I have this evening.
I have a question for you, Mr. Silka, if you would. I know I've asked this before. Can you update us on the status of the Sync Up program? I know I asked this before. And I keep getting a lot of complaints, and I think anybody that's out driving, that Route 30 just gets so terrible through here with these lights now that everybody's back out driving. And I mean, traffic is backed up really bad around rush hour
Okay,
time.
what I'll do is I know that Mr. Turley has been meeting with him, so he can give you an update as he's
Okay.
the point contact.
We had a meeting about a month ago on the preliminary finding. It's still in engineering. A number of questions come out of that. There's some changes in discussion, and without getting into it, there's some leading, lagging phase changes and things discussed. We had a lot of questions on, they're converting to some arrows on left turns where you have solid balls, which is not preferred now, confuses with the through movement. And just a lot of sort of design discussion issues, and we're expecting to reconvene and follow up with those in the next week or so. They proposed a few changes that we'll just see. So when we go to the timing part of this, it will be next year, early next year, most likely, and we'll have a period of time to observe this and make some changes. But the timing, there's much more traffic now. The timings haven't really changed so much. Shouldn't have changed at all, really. But we will be changing them, and we will be observing them. So, we're doing some equipment upgrades too. So that's sort of the long answer. The short answer is it's still in engineering, and we'll bring an update back to you soon. There will be some timing changes and some different things than what we're used to seeing, and we're working through them on the engineering side and eventually through the implementation side. There has to be a contract. It has to go through PennDOT's contract selection process. There's months involved when you get through engineering to actually get a contractor on board and get them out there and get working. So we expect that to be early next year.
So just my concern was that with the possible reconstruction of Route 30, they may try to hold that off until
No,
they're
no.
going to do something before then.
No,
Okay.
that's
That's
no.
good.
Yeah, that Sync Up's real time. It's equipment upgrade in real time. That year, the next year, that's where we try to do it every 5 years, especially for us because our traffic patterns can change and we have so much traffic. We have coordinated timings. We have a lot of complications. We have some intersections up, like one up here doesn't work real well. We wrestle with it all the time. We get complaints about that. But that's not going to affect the construction coming down the road. In fact, we're going to bring you an update sometime in the not too distant future on that. And there is some discussions about changing timings during construction and some other things that we'll need to do just for construction. But that's a little bit separate from the Sync Up. And we're trying to do one then the other and not create too much confusion here. So we're going to come back to you with some studies that we've done recently with Carnegie Mellon as well as PennDOT's project. I don't have an exact time, but the Sync Up will move ahead before that. It really won't be. It won't be too. The only real impact was they wouldn't put an emergency emitter up at Lager Road, because that's the first part of construction, and there was a few other things that they were hesitant to do, because that's where PennDOT's construction will begin. But other than that, they're really not connected.
Thank you.
Any other further board comments tonight?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Mike, can you expand on Lager Road for us? What, as to, is there something preliminarily speaking that you can talk to, like what is going to be done to Lager Road?
Well, that's the limits, the first phase construction limits go to that intersection.
From where to where?
From 48.
From 48,
And
okay.
part of the project's in District 11 in Allegheny County. This is a small piece of it.
Right.
That interchange out there, 48's complicated. And then really, the project is proposed in that section as a barrier with selected, what they call jug handle type turns, which are large, wide turns for trucks. If you look on a map, it looks like a jug handle is what it comes. So several of those, and really your access is through signalized intersection. So I tell people, if you want to go left, you got to go right. That's how it works. So it's a safety factor, and with 30 is a high accident corridor and congested. So this addresses all of that. So and then
There's a lot of those jug handles on 22 in Murraysville.
Yes.
So if anybody has any questions as to what a jug handle might look like, I recommend get yourself over to Murraysville and get on 22, and you'll see them.
Yeah, it's a safety. They're
It's a
controlling
safety
the access, and really the head-on accidents are where you have higher fatality incidents. So we have a double yellow line, and people traveling at high speeds, and this is really, really driving some high accident corridor, so they want a barrier in there, and then you control the access to it. But we're going to have to come back to you. We've had numerous discussions over recent years, and we did the Carnegie Mellon study, and we're looking at traffic and all this stuff. We're internally working on that. I know you don't hear about it or see it, but we're just not really at a right time to bring it to you, so we'll bring it back to you at the right time. But the sync up is real time, it's moving ahead, and it's a nice sized project. We're getting some nice equipment upgrades, some new controllers, we're getting some radar in areas, we're getting some emergency emitters, which are popular and kind of expensive too, and then retiming and engineering. There's a lot to it. It's a good project for us. It's real time, and the idea is to get as much efficiency out of 30 as we can with signal times. But to be honest, when you have a busy intersection like right up here, you can't always time your way out of it either. So this is the effort that's underway.
Any other further board comments tonight?
Can anybody update me on the bridge at Lager Road? The railroad bridge?
They actually started working on it again this week, it appears to. That's a state project.
Right.
So, I mean, they did have, I believe they had some some commodities issues. They weren't getting their steel, but they've actually just started working on that again. So that's being picked back up.
Has the state said anything to you in regards when possible completion?
No.
Nothing. Okay, all right, thank you.
Anything else from the board? No announcements tonight, just need a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Motion passed 6-0. Meeting adjourned at 7:54. Executive session to follow to talk about legal and personnel matters.